We are here with the mayor of Huntersville, Jill Swain. Thank you for coming back on the show. I think it's been about a year since we've had you on.
It has.
So we're
This
curious.
is exciting.
A lot has probably changed in that year, so we're looking forward to an update.
Yeah, tell us what's been going on in Huntersville.
Well, we have had, we have a new board, so we had an election in between the time that I talked to you. I think this is going to be a very positive board. We're already working together on long-term visions. We have, as a town, we're promoting a community plan, so we want the citizens to get involved in that. As you know, we've got construction that's almost complete in our downtown area, so we're also working on, I think we talked about too, the North Rail Transit line. We're still promoting that and seeing how we can get that accomplished. And economic development. We're really working hard to bring in additional economic development and large corporations to Huntersville. So that's the nutshell.
So that's a lot. So maybe we can take each one of those. So let's start with the kind of the long-term plan and getting the community involved and having a vision for Huntersville. What's the idea behind that?
Well, the very reason that I actually got involved in politics is because when I came to town, the population was 3,500. And we knew that we were going to experience tremendous growth, which we have. Our census numbers are probably going to show that we've got over 45,000 now in almost 17 and a half years. So as I got involved, I wanted to be part of, as did other citizens, part of the planning for the future. You have to keep doing that. You have to keep revisiting that because the future changes. The models that you used 17 years ago change when you have new numbers and new development. And so we are revisiting that. We're talking about what role we want transportation to play, where we envision the economic development pockets, where we want to maintain the rural vistas, and where we see the housing mixes to be. One of the interesting things that has come out of the discussion so far has been that senior housing and affordable housing are an area that we probably need to focus on in the future. And our trends are changing with regard to age and our population. So it stands to reason. So those are some of the things that we're planning for. But we can't do this in our little microcosm of the town board, elected officials, and the people who work at town hall. It has to be done with community input. A lot of what's happening is being put on the huntersville.org website. So we're encouraging citizens to follow the meetings, come to the meetings, and email their input.
Great.
So talk about how the face of downtown is changing. What are some of the businesses? What's happening down there?
Well, it's really exciting to see a project that we had planned for and have had some ups and downs with the political process, but that it has proceeded, and the whole profile, I think, of the downtown area has changed with the new 3-story building that will house town office space on the 3rd floor and the Discovery Place Kids flagship museum. We also have a parking garage, parking deck there that we have needed parking forever.
It's attractive looking too. You know, you
beautiful.
would think, you know, sometimes you hear about a parking deck going up and it's like, do I really want that in my downtown? But it really looks nice.
It is. It's with the brick, the facade matches the facade for the big downtown building. We haven't had a 3-story building in that area before. And I think there are several exciting aspects of it. It's encouraging the walkability more so now in the downtown area, which in turn brings more business interest into that area. And it brings people more of a connection to the town government aspect too, because town hall is catty corner, police station is across the street. We have an old jail site that sometime we will renovate. The volunteer fire department is down there too. So at Huntersville Elementary School, I want to encourage more field trips for the kids to come see the entire area. And it's only a block and a half away from the rail line. So again, this is part of the long-term vision. We've got a good future ahead of us, I think.
It's definitely looking much nicer. Now, talk about the transportation then, what is going on. I would love to see the rail line get done. I mean, coming from a place where I always commuted by rail to not have it here, it just seems...
And I agree with you. There are a lot of people who have moved to this area who have experienced transit options elsewhere. For some people, it's still pie in the sky, and they think that cars are the way to go. I'm all about options. Everybody needs to have options, and especially for our environment. I'm really concerned about the number of cars that are on the road. And in all honesty, people want to move quickly these days, and with our limited and overcrowded roads, you can't move as quickly. So you lose time with your family. You lose time, to fix dinner or to get to a meeting or to be at soccer practice or whatever.
And it's not productive time either. If you're on a train or on the bus, like my husband takes the bus to Charlotte, you can read the paper, you can work on emails, you can get things done. When you're driving, it's just lost time.
That's absolutely right. Now, the issue with the North Rail line has been that because it's a commuter rail, or planned to be a commuter rail, and the ridership numbers were relatively low compared to federal standards. Federal funding, up until recently, was not an option. But what has happened with the new Secretary of Transportation, Ray LaHood, and him coming in, is he has indicated that those standards need to change. Instead of ridership numbers, we need to look at land use along the rail corridor. Huntersville, Davidson, and Cornelius, along with Mooresville, have planned for over a decade for the land use and having the density along the rail line. So I have taken up and sent to Secretary LaHood a map that has all of our zoning along the rail line to say, we win, we should be the pilot project. The CATS, Charlotte Area Transit System, representatives, the North MEC mayors, we are going to be going up to Washington, D.C. on May 24th to advocate for our North Rail line. So we haven't stopped. Now, the federal funding is being given to the Northeast line. It's very important for those of us in the North to stress we're not competing, but how wonderful that we have this challenge that so many people want transit. It's just how to pay for it. And it's planning. So that's where we are.
Now, before we run out of time, we want to make sure that we talk about the Live Well, Be Well initiative. Tell us about what's going on with that.
That's something that's very near and dear to my heart. Probably 6 months after I took office in my first term as mayor, Presbyterian Hospital called me and said, we need to talk to you. In that meeting, they told me that currently the trend for the younger generation is that kids are going to grow up twice as unhealthy as our generation.
Right.
And it's scary.
It's the first generation that's not going to live as long as their parents.
Absolutely. So you've got obesity, you've got the cholesterol issues, you've got diabetes. Thank you. You know all of this. And as a substitute, a sometime substitute in the school system, I see it. I have not been a very good example with my eating habits necessarily, and have had to change those. But Presbyterian said, we want to get in the school system. So I called Dr. Gorman with Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools and said, you've got to hear this. And he sat through the same presentation and at that meeting said, let's do it. So I'm saying this all very quickly because there was a lot involved, but Presbyterian Hospital, CMS, and I have worked to develop a pilot program called Learn Well, Be Well. It's in 3 schools, an elementary school, a middle school, and a high school, 1 grade in each of the schools, where they are learning about healthy eating habits, about exercise. The teachers are participating. 2 doctors are assigned per school. Physical therapists go in. The kids at every level learn about self-esteem. At high school level, they're learning about steroids and dating violence and just a whole myriad of health and wellness.
That's wonderful.
I think it's something that we need now. The goal is to expand it to the other schools.
In all the schools. I mean, it's in the cafeterias and.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And my kids are now reminding me that isn't a healthy choice, Mom.
Right.
So next time you see me, I'll be a lot leaner and meaner.
Well, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thanks for the update.
Well, you're doing good things, and I appreciate you guys.
Take care.
Thank you.